In 1891, a pope named Leo looked at factories, smoke, and machines and wrote a document that would change the church's social history. It was called Rerum Novarum. It spoke of workers, their dignity, their rights in the thick of the Industrial Revolution. Leo XIII. That text opened modern social teaching. 135 years later, another pope, who chose the name Leo because of him, looks at a new world. Not steam engines. Artificial intelligence. And on May 15th, 2026, on the exact anniversary of that first encyclical, Leo XIII signs his own. The first of his pontificate. The gesture is deliberate, as if to say, if Leo XIII could read the revolution of his century, this generation must learn to read the revolution of ours. And ours is artificial intelligence. The title is beautiful Latin, Magnifica Humanitas, magnificent humanity. The subtitle leaves no doubt on safeguarding the human person in the time of artificial intelligence. The name is not accidental. It evokes the Magnificat, Mary's canticle, an icon of humble humanity that, in its smallness, is capable of greatness. That is the heart of the whole text. We will walk, calmly and faithfully, through what this encyclical actually says. Why a Vatican text on artificial intelligence matters to everyone, believer or not. And above all, why its message hits something this channel will not drop. How children grow and learn in the age of screens. The Pope starts from an uncomfortable observation. We are living, he says, a rapid phase of transition, a true change of epoch. While a few fight over the future of the new technologies and others sit and think about them, the immense majority only watches and waits. Watching from far away, simply hoping that everything turns out well. Leo XIII says that passive waiting is not enough, that staying still and watching is not innocent, that the Church, and with it every person, must ask an ancient and urgent question. To ask it, the encyclical uses two biblical images set against each other: the Tower of Babel and Nehemiah rebuilding Jerusalem. Two opposite ways of building something large. Babel is the collective project that follows a plan of domination. That crushes the person to raise something taller than her. A work that, in the end, dehumanizes those who build it. Jerusalem, instead, is rebuilt stone by stone, as a shared responsibility at the scale of persons, in their service. Between those two images, the Pope throws the question that cuts through the whole document. Faced with artificial intelligence, what are we actually building? Babel or Jerusalem? To answer, first we have to understand what this technology is and what it is not. And here the encyclical is startlingly precise. Leo XIII admits without fear that artificial intelligence outruns the human in speed and calculation, that it promises real advances for human development. This is not a technophobic text. It does not demonize the tool, but it draws a clear border, and it draws it firmly. These systems, he writes, barely imitate certain functions of human intelligence. Imitate. The word is exact. They are not intelligence. They imitate some of its functions. Because the machine lacks what is essential. It lacks a body, lived experience, emotion, moral conscience, spiritual perspective. And so, the Pope says with a line that lands, these systems do not understand what they produce. They generate answers, texts, images, without grasping what they mean. Artificial intelligence is entirely bound to the processing of data. The human being is not. A human is born, matures, suffers, loves, doubts, chooses. The machine calculates. Hence the firmest warning in the whole encyclical, the one aimed at transhumanism, against the old dream of fusing man with machine in order to surpass him. Leo XIV rejects that fantasy of transcending human limits by a technological path. And he warns of a very concrete danger, creating second-class human beings subordinated to an elite. Because for the Pope, and here is the most beautiful turn in the text, human dignity is not born from overcoming our limits. It is born precisely from inhabiting them. Dignity springs from relationship, from finitude, from vulnerability, from being beings who are born, who depend on one another, and who one day die. And to prove it, the encyclical does something unusual in a pontifical document. It comes down from theory and names concrete examples of human greatness. Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, Marie Curie, Bishop Oscar Romero. People who reach the highest not despite their limits, but through them. From prison, from illness, from fear, from poverty. It cites Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, written when he was already deaf, Picasso's Guernica, Spielberg's Schindler's List, works no machine could have felt before creating. That is the central argument of the document. What artificial intelligence will never have is what makes us irreplaceable, the capacity to give meaning, to create significance from a life actually lived. On that ground, the encyclical turns practical, what it calls safeguarding humanity, and it organizes it clearly on three fronts: truth, work, and freedom. The first front is truth. In a world of deepfakes, manipulated content, lies that travel faster than facts, Leo XIII asks for what he calls an ecology of communication. And he proposes an educational alliance. Because, he writes, only the shared search for truth, understood as a common good, offers a firm foundation for just communication. Translated into daily life, that means one very concrete thing: teaching how to read critically what the screen shows us. Media literacy stops being a luxury. It becomes self-defense. The second front is work. Faithful to Rerum Novarum, the Pope reaffirms that work is a decisive sphere of human dignity, that in it the person finds purpose and fulfillment. And so he opposes an automation that reduces the human being to a metric of efficiency. That treats the worker as a cost to optimize, and not as an end in himself. He asks to protect employment, to renew labor rights, to guarantee decent work against algorithmic replacement. Not to freeze technology, but so that technology serves people. The third front is freedom. And here the encyclical describes something millions of us live every day without a name: digital dependencies. The mass collection of data, invisible influences on our conduct. Systems designed not to serve us, but to capture our attention and slowly shape what we do. And it is exactly at this point that Magnifica Humanitas becomes, almost without intending it, a document about childhood and education. Because who is more exposed to those invisible influences? Who still has no defenses to recognize them and resist them? Precisely the child. The encyclical insists that the young need accompaniment, not blind prohibition, which only postpones the problem, not abandonment, which surrenders it. Accompaniment. Accompaniment to navigate a world designed with enormous resources to hook them. A world that competes for their attention from the moment they open their eyes. And it places education, together with the family and the community, as the place where critical and responsible use of technology is formed. Not in the abstract, in everyday life. It is, almost word for word, the same thesis this channel holds: that the tool is not the problem. The problem is the tool without criterion, and without an adult present who accompanies. Only the Pope raises it to social teaching of the Church. Educating in the age of artificial intelligence is not a technical option or a fashion. It is a matter of human dignity. To govern all this, the encyclical recovers three classic principles of social teaching: the common good, solidarity, and subsidiarity. The common good, that technology serve everyone and not the profit of a few. Solidarity, that we become truly responsible for one another. And subsidiarity, that decisions be taken at the level closest possible to persons, that they not concentrate, distant and invisible, in the hands of a small technological elite. Leo XIV rejects two extremes outright: those who say technology is neutral, that it has no morality, that everything depends only on the use given to it, and those who leave it entirely in the hands of power and the market. For the Pope, asking about the purpose and direction of technology is not optional. It is a duty of all. In its gravest part, the encyclical turns to war, to autonomous weapons, to systems capable of deciding on the life and death of a human being without real human control. It warns that when human responsibility in war is reduced, it becomes easier to start one. And it goes so far as to say that the old just war theory has been outpaced by this automation. Against that culture of power, it proposes what it calls the civilization of love, one founded on justice, on dialogue among religions, on the reduction of arms, on a return to diplomacy. And the Church does not stay in words alone. The Pope created a commission on artificial intelligence, convened a consistory of cardinals, and asked parishes to reflect in community on technology. The encyclical closes with an unexpected image, taken from Tolkien, from The Lord of the Rings. A few words of the wizard Gandalf. "It is not in our power," he says, "to govern all the tides of the world, only to do what is in us for the good of the years we have been given to live, uprooting evil from the fields we know." It is enormous humility for such an ambitious document. It does not promise to stop the wave. It asks merely to cultivate well our small field, the field we do know. And for most of us, that field has a very concrete name. It is called home. It is called child. It is called the screen that child is holding right now, in their hands. Because in the end, Magnifica Humanitas is not a document about machines. It is a document about us, about what we decide to protect when everything seems to push us to surrender. Artificial intelligence will keep advancing, with or without our permission. The Pope's question is not whether we use it. It is what kind of human beings we want to keep being while we use it. And that question, the document says, is answered early, in the first years, in how we accompany a child looking at a screen, without the screen ending up looking at them. If you want to read it in full, we leave the link to the official Vatican text in the pinned comment. And if this gaze applied to raising children interests you, you will also find there the book Early Techno-Education. And let us stay, to finish, with the question Leo XIV leaves to all of us, with machines or without them. Faced with everything we are now capable of building, what are we actually building?